Hello and welcome to the week ahead reading. So I'm going to do it slightly differently if you've been here for some time, and I'm actually going to get straight into the card reading and I'm going to talk about the transits as I'm looking at the cards. And I just want to see if we enjoy it. Let me know in the comments. I want to try something slightly different. So I do have the transits in front of me. I know what they are, but I'm just going to see. Let's talk about it together at the same time. I hope everyone's doing all right, by the way. I know this has been a very intense... Well, for me, Mercury retrograde has really shown up, and oh my gosh. Let me know in the comments if that has been showing up for you as well, and the shenanigans. Excuse me. Oh, okay. So what I'm going to look at first is the energy of the beginning. Oh, that's very jumpy. Beginning of the week. And the middle of the week and the end of the week. So what are the energies, please, of the beginning of the week collectively? How is everyone feeling? And what are the energies of the beginning of this week? Interesting. Okay. So what are the energies of the middle of the week, please? Oops. Energies of the middle of the week. It's being a little bit stubborn. All right, collective energies, please. There we go. Hello. Ooh, I like this. Okay. Right, we've got two that's come out there. Very nice. And then more towards the end of the week, please. These are nice cards. One more, please. Ooh. And this is really interesting. Okay, so beginning of the week, here we have Ace of Wands. Yeah, maybe getting a little bit more kind of drive again. So some of us, I feel like recently we've been going through a sort of desire to move forwards, but then the energy like pulling back. And that has been a really big theme, especially around this new moon Sagittarius. So like the new moon in Sagittarius is really sort of like Sag wants to like go out and be free and have loads of freedom and like, you know, have a party. But then, excuse me, it was making quite a tight square to Saturn, and Saturn was bringing this kind of like restriction with it being a square. So it sort of felt like this like wanting to go, but then like Saturn being like, but just double check that like you're not taking action for action's sake. Because that's been really very much the beginning of this week. Yesterday and today has been kind of like, it's Monday today, this feeling of, yeah, like it's great to have drive, but not sort of putting all of that energy into the wrong things. Like that's really what this new moon is wanted, is like what, like discernment, right? Saturn loves discernment, and that's been very much kind of like what we've been asked to do, is to like not act on things too quickly. So it's quite nice that we've got Ace of Wands here, because it feels like there is still this kind of like drive energy, but there is this sort of, yeah, like, but an ace is right at the beginning. It's the spark of something rather than like full pelt, let's go, let's do this kind of thing. And then, sorry, I can't stop clearing my throat. So I got two in the middle here, and they're like the nicest cards ever, happiness and pleasure. So in the middle of the week, yeah, I love this. Like feeling generally more at peace with life is what I'm seeing, which I really love, because I think personally I've not felt very at peace with things, and this looks really lovely. And I know in the middle of the week, in terms of transits as well, we do have some kind of interesting energies. So we've got Sun square Saturn on Wednesday. Now, again, Saturn has this bit of an influence at the moment, and I do think I'm feeling Saturn's energy of like, Saturn in its highest form really wants us to be discerning. So when the sun is squaring Saturn, it's really asking us to like look at our boundaries. It's asking us to reassess our boundaries and like see if there's a call here to assert or reassess boundaries in some way. But with this here, it's kind of like so that you can like have more happiness, right? It's going to be a good thing for you and healthy, not necessarily like a difficult task is kind of what I'm seeing here. It's like a really interesting contrast here. Like this is to make you feel happier. So that's lovely. I really love this. We've also got, so in terms of other transits, we've got Mercury opposing Jupiter. So another opposition, well, not another opposition because the other one was a square, but it's another slightly challenging aspect where Mercury and Jupiter in opposition, because Mercury is currently in Sagittarius and Gemini is opposite, so Jupiter in Gemini. And they have been sort of playing off each other a little bit recently, and they are kind of, it's actually quite hilarious astrology, honestly, because Mercury in Sagittarius is in its detriment, because Mercury thinks small and is kind of like the detail-oriented planet, and Sagittarius is the big picture thinker. And then in its opposite, at the moment, or on Wednesday, we're going to get a direct opposition. We've got Jupiter, which rules Sagittarius, which is currently in Mercury. If that makes sense. Sorry, it's getting confusing. And in Gemini, which is Mercury's like natural ruler, or Mercury. See, oh my gosh, Mercury retrograde is screwing with my communications so much. If everyone has been having communication issues, seriously, it's so real right now. I'm trying so hard to speak normally, but it's so difficult. Okay, let me try that again. So the natural ruler of Gemini is Mercury and the ruler of Sagittarius is Jupiter. So they're kind of in each other's signs. So it's this really interesting, like, kind of, again, this push-pull. And I think we might be feeling that on Wednesday a little bit of, like, wanting to go and, like, wanting to go big, but then wanting to, like, attend to the details. And it can be a little bit kind of, when Mercury and Jupiter oppose each other, I'm going to slow myself down to try and speak normally, it can sort of bring in a sense of inflated like self sometimes as well, so it's just something to look out for. But the cards seem to think it's going to be a great time, so I'm quite looking forward to this, to be honest. And then on Friday, we have Mercury Cazimi. Now, I am really looking forward to this because Mercury Cazimi is when Mercury conjuncts the sun. So that means they come together. And when the sun is like conjuncting a planet, it sort of shines a light on that planet and like it helps it express itself better because the sun is about expression. And I think that this is going to be really helpful because Mercury has been in a really tricky place recently, with it being in Sagittarius and in retrograde. As you can hear, my communication is struggling. It feels like it's going to bring a sense of clarity, like a sense of like getting some answers. Like I think there's been this energy recently of things feeling very confusing, very unclear, very uncertain. And I feel like on Friday we might start to get some more answers. So I'm personally really looking forward to this. However, on the same day, we do have Mars going into retrograde. So another retrograde planet, like a planet going into retrograde, so to say. And yeah, I mean, it's just the time to slow things down a little bit. But it can be a little frustrating. Mars wants to go and it's like slowing down, and it's in Leo, which is a very fiery sign. So there does feel like this kind of a little bit of tension there as well. And we've got here the Five of Cups, disappointment, which I often feel like is a sort of tense card because it's so red and the cups are empty. It kind of does feel a little bit like, I often associate this card with burnout. Now, I know it doesn't say that, it says disappointment, but it is this sort of feeling of like trying to push when there's no water, like if you look at the imagery on the card, what I really get from it is like, with there being literally no water flowing in through these cups, and there's all this red, and this is Scorpio as well. It's like, it's so much, it can be a bit too much force applied, and like feeling like things then just don't happen, right? You're pushing and pushing and pushing. That's kind of the energy of it, but then nothing happens. Like, I feel like I had this moment last week. If you watch my video that I did on YouTube, it was very this, and I actually pulled this card in the morning, and I spent all day working on something and really trying to make something happen, even though all the signs were telling me not to, and then I was very disappointed because then it didn't work, right? So that's kind of potentially a bit of that energy on Friday, but there is a bit of a mixed bag here. I would say that for some of you, you might feel the tension of Mars going into retrograde more than others. Some of you hopefully will feel a little bit more of that clarity that we've been looking for. So again, there could be a couple of things going on here, because there's so much astrology in the same day, that we may pick up on different parts depending on, you know, your own chart and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so I might talk a little bit about the weekend energy, although hopefully I'll get to do a video about that this week. But yeah, on Saturday, we've got Venus moving into Aquarius, and it's going to meet Pluto. So Pluto is at the very, very beginning of Aquarius at 0 degrees. And Venus is going to be meeting Pluto at this point. Now, Venus in Aquarius is very much about Venus is all about our relationships and how we relate to people, right? And it feels like it's really asking us to show up as our authentic selves, because Aquarius is very much about like not being afraid to be different, to be unique. Like, again, I think I've said this before, but people with lots of Aquarius placements, like, they tend to look kind of unconventional, right? So there's something here, and like, again, with Pluto being there as well, it's like quite transformative. That's Pluto. So there's something really here about a need to take off the masks. It's interesting. There's something here around, we're going to be asked and required to show up in a more real, authentic way. That does feel like there's a bit of that this week already. I'm already feeling this kind of like desire to be, more just authentic and human and real, and not like trying to pretend to be something different. Actually, a transit that is happening today is Venus trining Uranus, and Uranus is Aquarius's ruler. So again, similar kind of thing, this desire to like do things differently, to show up differently in our relationships, to do things differently in our relationships is a bit of a theme. And again, this kind of theme around authentic expression, like being, real and honest. Now, I will say just a little bit of a heads up with that, because Mercury is in retrograde, just be really careful about communication. Don't jump in too quickly. With Mars and Leo as well, it can be like, let's go, I want to do this. But actually, there is a little bit of a danger at the moment around high conflict situations potentially, and speaking before you've really thought about it and creating unnecessary damage. And I do just feel like there's something to watch out for there. So yes, be real. Yes, be honest. Yes, be authentic. But also think first. This is Saturn and this is Mercury retrograde. Like, let's not rush. And Mars is going into retrograde as well. Like, let's just think about things first. Okay, so what are the challenges we might face this week? Can't stop clearing my throat as well. I mean, I know I've not been well recently, and I'm thankful I'm a lot better now, but I do wonder if it's a Mercury thing, because I'm just like constantly. I feel like I need to do it again. Okay. Whew. All right. Challenges we might face. Oh my gosh. Right. It's on the floor. What is it? Strife. Wrong way around. 5 of Wands, strife. Yeah, conflict. Like I was just talking about, there is a sort of just a little bit of heat. And I think I've kind of already addressed this, actually, to be honest, like, but just stay grounded and think before you speak if things get heated. Yeah, like, don't lose sight of, like, you love this person. I don't know why I feel like I need to say this. Like, if there is some conflict this week, because this card really speaks of that, Five of Wands is often about conflict, then just remember that you do love that person, and that you're not, you know, you don't want to create more damage. Like, how can you heal this and, like, come to consensus rather than, like, yeah, escalate things? I don't know, it just feels important to say. Maybe that won't be for everybody, but it's just because communication is so wildly messy right now. So yeah. Okay, best part of this week, please. Oh my god, they're so jumpy, I cannot. Oh, like this. We have the Empress. I love the Empress so much. Venus's card. Yeah, Venus does have a little bit going on this week, actually. We've got, yeah, Venus trying Neptune today. Venus moving into Aquarius on Saturday. So, yeah, feeling the... And again, Venus is relational. So it's just like... And it's making me think as well, like, with all of this sort of conflict talk, like, Venus really knows how to be a diplomat. Be diplomatic. Venus, Libra's ruler is Venus. Libra is all about balance and, like, harmony and bringing back harmony to situations. So we do have help from Venus this week, which is great. But yeah, I think that's so important. I don't know. It just keeps coming to me, like, this need to create harmony and not escalating things. Okay, what is the guidance for this week, please? Yes, I like this. We have Ace of Swords, acting on inspiration. It does feel like, that's interesting that is guidance. We've got two aces here. New beginnings are coming, it seems. Especially if you've been feeling quite stuck. I think this is going to be really welcomed. I love that this is here, but yeah, when this is guidance, it feels like acting on your inspirations, following your own intuition, following your own, like, yeah, inspiration when it strikes. Because it does feel like, even though things are coming inward, you know, we're going into winter and that kind of a thing, in the Northern Hemisphere anyway, there is some, I want to say, like, light at the end of the tunnel. That's, like, interesting. That's not specifically associated with Ace of Swords, but I do feel like there is, like, some light here. Because I don't know, I'm just really drawn to, like, this part of the card. Just, like, this kind of, like, things are, like, a bit of a breakthrough energy. Like, because the sword is, like, literally breaking through the crown. Like, I don't know, it just feels like remaining hopeful or something, and, like, knowing that if you have been going through some difficult stuff, right, that good things are on the other side of it, and it's actually you're nearly there is kind of what I'm getting. I don't know, that might be quite a specific message for somebody, but it does feel like it's been a little challenging recently, so hopefully that brings some solace, honestly. But yeah, like, trusting your own intuition and inner guidance, and, like, following the nudges now is the guidance. So hopefully, I hope you enjoyed that format. Sorry my talking was all over the place today. I'm not gonna lie, I'm excited for the end of this retrograde. I know everything is here for a reason, but I'm ready for it. Wait till the 15th of December comes around, and it should be a little bit easier, at least on communication front, because I rely so much on communication, so it's a challenge for me. Anyway, I will leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching that. Let me know how you found that in the comments, and liking and subscribing and all of that stuff really helps support the channel. So thank you so much for being here. Have a fabulous week, and I'll speak to you all soon. Mwah. Bye.